Hello, my name is Victoria Stevens. I am working towards my degree in digital animation, character and landscape design. We are working on our project 4.6, presenting your digital paintings. Just wanted to talk a little bit about this class. It's been a very interesting experience for me. This is my first time using Photoshop. Um, we're still having a little bit of a love-hate relationship, but I'm sure we'll work it out. I do like some of the brushes and the blending tools. It makes it a lot of fun. You have a lot more options instead of having so many tools that you actually have in front of you, although I still like a good paintbrush. I will later in the video show you a few things that I learned this month in Photoshop. I will also say the best part about Photoshop is the layers. I haven't quite figured out how to use them properly. I know I use them, but we're still a little iffy on it. They're an indispensable tool in Photoshop, though. They make it a lot easier for erasing, making sharper, more clear images, giving the pictures more depth as you can stack the layers, add a layer with a different design, an element in one specific area. You can erase stuff in one part but not another. And then you can still keep the layer. That way, if you eventually want to add it back in, you still have that. It's not gone. It's just not visible at that moment, which I think is a really good asset to have from Photoshop. I have to say the most challenging part of this assignment was the composition challenge. I would have loved to leave you a little more time so I could have more experience for this project. It was very difficult for me. I'm not very good at using the cutting tool and getting things put into place so they actually look like they fit together in one image. But, I will have to work on getting better at that. But that was definitely the most difficult assignment for me. In the environment design process, the thing I found the most interesting is that I need to work on my perspective. I'll show you in Photoshop what I mean. I kind of have a skewed way of looking at the environment, and I need to work on how the land flows more properly. So I have to say we're going to have to get started and go into Photoshop, and I can show you a little bit of what I learned. So let's go ahead and do that. Bring up Photoshop here. So we'll start here. As you can see, I have my Susie and trees in the background, but the way this hill goes up, I mean, honestly, if this was real life, that tank would just flip over onto that one. This dude would just be over here not do anything. I mean, he looks like he's pointing at the ground, but it's fine. So I just need to work on making it flow backwards as opposed to pulling into the middle. It is a pretty cool story, though. These characters, these people are just trying to leave this apocalyptic world and get to a better one. And this is a portal into a better fertile land, which we see here in this image. That's our portal into this world. But as you can see, this image has a lot of issues with it. It's very cartoony. Once again, it pulls into the middle, which is definitely a problem of mine when I'm trying to do a perspective view. The village is there, but there's not a lot of shading coming off of it, so it kind of looks like it's just stuck on. The train is coming at you, but from a very weird angle, and the whole image just looks a little flat. But I'm going to show you in just 1 second. As you can see in this image, I worked on it for my final image, and this was my secondary image. As you can see, I've got my village set way, way back there, so that way, you can zoom in here. You've got, some shading coming off the trees, so you can really tell that the light and the sunlight is coming from this direction. I've got my big, beautiful tree right here, kind of, shading the town. Let's zoom out for a second. There we go. Over here you see across my landscape you've got the clouds, and you can see the big shading on the hillside from the clouds. I've got some cloud coverage sitting over the lake. And then you have my city here, and it's actually set into the hillside, and you can see the shading off the monorail and the smoke coming off the train. It's coming into the hills and up towards you, which is a much better view of how it would actually look if this was real life as opposed to more of a cartoon. This would be more of a correct image. Another really fun thing we did with the Wacom tablet was a continuous line drawing. This is my tiger. I think he's beautiful. Um, this image was done solely with one line. Um, the tip did come off the Wacom tablet a little bit, but that's just because mainly it lost signal at one point or another, which happens a few times with it. I'm also going to show you a couple things that I really liked learning about in Photoshop. So we're going to go to here. I'm going to go to my brush tool. I downloaded a lot of cool brushes. This one's one of my favorites, the Golden Age Tilt. I think it's really cool looking. So I'm going to go ahead and, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Start off by creating a layer so that way I'm not drawing exactly on my background. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw a rough shape here. And the cool thing is I'm holding down my shift key and it is creating this straight line for me. That way I don't have to sit here and scribble and erase and scribble and erase. Then from this image, we're going to go to our move tool. And if we hit Control Alt on the actual box, it creates more of them. So we've got that second one there. We're going to pick up this one right here. T, and we're going to move it into the middle. And I'm going to show you something really cool about this. We're going to do sort of a perspective here. Bring that one down. Control T. And bring that one down just a little bit further. I'm actually going to take this middle one out. I really don't need it. So there we go. Control T. And we're going to put this back where I want it. Probably like right there, and make it just a tad bit bigger. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this on my new layer. So I have both of those on their own separate layer. And now I am connecting these boxes. And as you can see, it's making a really cool 3D sort of cube here. And I think that makes it look really, really cool. Now we're going to go back to like more of a simple brush, something that'll just draw really nice, be super easy to handle. And there we go. We're going to give this box some more realism to it and do that. And as you can see by doing these lines, I'm not very good at the top ones, but we'll get there eventually. It looks like an actual box. And so those are some of the contour lines that we could work on. And doing a really cool box, spheres, things that look like they're going into more of a perspective and getting a better understanding for how all of that works. Another really cool thing is like I just did all this and it looks horrible. So look at that. You can't see it anymore. And that layer is still there, but I can go back and fix what I didn't like on that one and do it on this one. And then now we're back to this original box, and let's say I wanted to erase out some of this line in here. I could go ahead and do that. That way it looks like the box is coming at us. And now that we've got all of that gone, let's say we wanted to fill this area in. What I could do is I could take and make a rectangle marquee. Go ahead and put it in the corner and drag it out to my exact shape. Now I have that rectangle marquee. I can go to here. Let's say I want a specific color. Let's do something blue. That's going to be really pretty. And I filled the front of it blue. So then we can take the tool again. And as you see, that's not really going to work because we don't need it to go in that direction. So we're going to need something that we have a little bit more control over. So we're going to deselect that front part, and we're going to use this one. And that selected the whole thing. So now we can take this and dump it. That didn't do what I wanted it to. Control Z. Deselect. Go away. I can even kind of draw out exactly where I want the color to be. And there we go. Now take the paint bucket, put it in there. And see, it filled up those areas. And now it's, as you can see, it looks like we're getting a lot more depth to it, but that line is getting a little bit distracting. So we could go ahead and erase it. But you see, the problem is I did this all on the same layer. So if I had chosen to do it on a different layer, I would have an easier time erasing that line, but now I have to erase it and then recolor it in. That isn't gonna work. I need something not as hard. I'm gonna go up to my general brushes all the way up the top here. Soft pressure and opacity. There we go. I like that better. Just kind of fill that in right there. But see, this takes a lot more work, and if I had just stuck that line on a different layer, I could have just deleted it out of there without all of that extra work. So those are colors and perspective things that we learned in Photoshop. I've had a lot of fun time with it, and I can't wait to get better at it. So we'll go ahead and close out of that for now. Within the principles of art and design, I know I need more work critiquing other people's work. I'm a lot better at critiquing my own. This is something we did for our speed image. We had to do quite a few images in a short amount of time. It's actually probably the most I've ever drawn in that short amount of time, and I think they came out pretty well. This is a character from Tokyo Ghoul. I love his hand, the way it came out there in the middle, just reaching out towards you. I think it's a really good view, but as you can see in the background, I need more work on my perspective because it doesn't give a level of realism to it. This is Venom, obviously, taking over. And this one I did okay on my perspective. It was really rough, but you can at least see the landscape going off into the distance without being so warped. I would have liked to have more time on it because it's a speed painting. I think I actually did a pretty good job getting it to look the way I wanted. One other thing we did in Photoshop was we had to make an illuminated text. So we have some ink splotching. We had to make it look like old parchment, have a seal on it. I love doing headers at the top. I think it's really pretty. I have some Latin that I actually wrote out in the title. We are but dust and shadow. I thought that was a really cool title for this image. So that was a really fun thing we did in Photoshop. This is my composition piece. This is probably the thing I had the hardest time with. It was not easy for me to get the images to blend well. I think now I could probably do it a little bit better, but still not as good as I would like. But I think the image came out really cool. The idea of it, this soul is being fought over by the titans and the monsters, and some of the gods just don't care, the mortals do. It's good depiction of Greek mythology. It's a lot of chaos. um, Another thing that we got to work on was unity, and I have a couple of my perspective pieces in here, and that was really, really fun to do. So we're gonna head and take a walk around here really quick. These were for our color project. That was really, really fun to do. We had our color, and they had to be in a different aspect, as in contrast. As you can see, there's 3D shapes going off in different perspectives. And then over here, we have a couple more of our artwork. I had a lot of fun putting this together, actually. Go ahead and pause that. What we had to do was we had to select an image. We're going to go down here to the image, and we're going to go ahead and replace it. So here we go. We're going to reset that. So now, as you can see, the image is gone. So let's say I wanted to do a matching piece of art. So I'd go ahead and put it in the albedo, and I'm pretty sure it's that one. Yeah, there we go. And then, no, that's not it. That doesn't look right. Reset that really quick. Go ahead and put it back in that one, and then color. There we go. And see, that's really, really bright. So we're going to head and pull that down. So we still have some of the contrast and the lighting, but it is not as much and not as bright, reflecting off of the frame. So if I had wanted to put a new image in, I could also bring the image more to the front. I don't know why it's not listening to me. Go ahead and try selecting this one. Okay. I'm still getting used to this, so there's still a lot of things I have to work out and figure out. But it's really fun to get to, at least have a good start for a 3D perspective. And as you can see, if we zoom out, this is our camera right here, and we can move it. So you can see down at the little camera preview where our camera is going to sit. And we want it to sit pretty high because we want it to be the view of a person. So as you can see, there's the picture. So we'll pull it back. We want it to be pretty centered. That way it looks like how it would actually look if you're standing in there. So those were a couple things we did in Unity, which was really, really fun. I super enjoyed it. And then we also have a couple things that we worked on in Nuke. So Nuke was pretty interesting. We have different things that connect, and as you can see, there's no more image. We want things to connect to our viewer. So we'll go ahead and take that off. So we got viewer 1, and then number 2. And then if we wanted to go ahead and add another image into here, it's not that hard actually. So let's say we actually close that. Go ahead. I want you. So let's go back to our digital painting and Photoshop. And so let's take something from our speed painting. We'll go ahead and grab our Tokyo Ghoul guy here and paste him in. Super easy. And now he is rendered in here. So those are a couple things I learned about Nuke and Unity, and I'm really excited to get to learn more, and I get to work with some 3D imaging. So it's going to be really, really fun. Get back to my notes here. Sorry. I haven't had a lot of experience working with Nuke and Unity, but the experience that I have had is very exciting. I have a saying that as long as I learn something new in every assignment, I will have achieved great things. And that's my goal, is to achieve even some small level of greatness. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my art that we did in our digital painting class. Thank you.